Welcome back, everybody. We still have more League of Legends action to come. But first, I am joined here by Joe and Quickshot to discuss today's winning tweets. Welcome, guys. So, of course, you sent us a lot of questions about the European LCS that you'd like to see answered, and we have picked 5. The first one of those is from Perseus. Says, how many people does it take to run the LCS live shows?
Well, not a lot of people know this, but us three, Demon and Jason, basically do everything. No, not really. We always have a pretty massive team here, and not just the obvious people, the camera guys, you know, the producer, the sound guy, the graphics guy that you guys all know about already. You know, the likes of the player managers, the stage managers here who never get any love anyway, even though they bring us drinks and keep us refreshed. So
you're also forgetting as well a lot of the video production guys, the guys that work on the script stuff from all around the world, the stage guys that help set everything up, and it's probably like 20 to 30 people in total when you actually take a step back and look at everything that goes into producing the show.
Absolutely, one big happy family. The second tweet is from @SlayerLol. How do you guys prepare yourselves, or what do you normally do before casting the LCS games, besides playing some ARAMs?
Well, before we did LCS every week, I actually grew an event beard, so basically my time during events, I was really lazy and just never shaved. That was my event beard, but since we're here every week, I just decided to let it grow and shorten it a little bit. So now, obviously, a lot of preparation goes in there in terms of statistics. For me especially, I spend a lot of time looking at statistics and obviously watching games not just from Europe, but from Korea, from China, from North America. I think watching is pretty much our biggest time-consuming thing that we do.
I would definitely say that, and to add on to that as well, in terms of some of the prep, we actually talk a lot about storylines, things we want to highlight, players we want to talk about, matchups that are key, and a lot of that stuff also goes through like an approval process as well. It's not all just off the cuff winging it, as a lot of people actually think. So there's a lot of back and forth that goes between the guys behind the scenes and those of us in front of the cameras.
Yep. The third tweet is from Brihan and says, what are some of your favorite champions to cast to?
Soraka. And Nunu. Trevor?
Gotta be LeBlanc. It has to be LeBlanc. I think good LeBlanc players can just jump in and out with the mimics, the insta-gibbing people. Bar none, my favorite.
Well, I think every LeBlanc player can jump in and out, right? That's part of what she does, but...
Can you do it?
No. No. I can get in there, but I'm never getting out. That's my problem.
Then a tweet from @UntherdBear or @TheRBear. What do you think makes the European Summer Split score so even and the NALCS so split up?
So I think a big part of it is the fact that we've seen so many roster changes in here. I mean, if you look at the spring split, obviously it wasn't quite as close, but for me there was still some of the bottom place teams still managing to beat the top place. So it wasn't so far away, but I think the roster changes really make it that close because teams with new players might not perform at their expected level at the start or even better than their expected level for their opponents. They might not really know what they're up against, which also brings in the whole unexpected value to each game.
Yeah, you know, talking about NA, I don't actually think it's quite as split up as the tweet makes it sound. You've got a clear leader in Cloud9. I mean, they're kicking the crap out of everyone. There's no other way to put it. But the middle of the table, there's a group of 5 that are about 3 or 4 games apart. And I think that you sort of overlook that a little bit because you do have a very clear winner and a very clear, you know, 8th place team. And it's pretty close across the board because everybody's just upping the game. Everybody's focusing more, spending more time, and because it's for world playoffs, everyone's giving the A game.
Very good point. And the last tweet is from Jeremy Hyde. Says, what champion introduced in Season 3 has had the highest impact on the EU LCS?
For me, it's a pretty easy one. I think Thresh. We saw him right from week 1 being banned and picked pretty much 100% of the time. And he's actually not far away from that right now as well. We see him in pretty much every single game. And it's easy to see why he's got a great kit and he fits into a lot of different team comps.
I was thinking about a couple different champions that I was wanting to go, and I think I'm going to highlight Lissandra as probably one of the next really big influential champions. No other region is really playing her that much. We've seen a little bit in the GPL and whatnot, but EU, Lissandra's been a priority pick, has been a game-changing pick as a solo laner mid or solo laner top. So I reckon she's probably the next one, next heaviest one.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Of course, if we read your tweet on the air, you'll be getting a Logitech G400 as gaming mouse, and all of today's winners will be contacted via Twitter, so keep your eyes peeled. Now let's get back to the action, and we're going to give you back to D-Man and Jason for our next match.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Let's get our next game underway. It's going to be Alternate versus Meet Your Makers.
Of course, the caster reminds back, this was a battle at DreamHack to see who can keep that 5-0 perfect start. And Alternate obviously was the one to come out with the victory there.
Yeah, it was very different days for Meet Your Makers back then, for sure. So let's take a look at the two teams. Starting out, it will be Alternate on the blue team. The man with the stupid mouse. I was like, in the top lane. Aranea as the jungler. Lord, he is back in the mid. And we should say, actually, this is the original lineup that was 5-0 up. Kraton, you saw him taking his cast off his arm earlier on. He is back in action as the AD carry. And Jayri is there in support to help him out.
Of course, over on that red side, for Meet Your Makers, we have Kuban in that top lane, Makati in the jungle, Charu in that middle lane, and Makler and Libic obviously has an AD carry support lane.
Yeah, and of course, fantastic match, really, between these two guys last time when they were both 4-0 at DreamHack. But unfortunately, it was Alternate that came out on top. Meet Your Makers definitely took a turn for the worse from then. Let's have a look at what you guys at home have been voting, though, for this game.
Yeah, currently, you guys have 77% of you winning, or having Alternate win this game, which, you know, with their track record, what's that?
Sorry, it's an alternator. I thought, hey, hold on a minute. Is there a car recharger required in here or not?
Well, I mean, considering if we think back to what's happened so far between these two teams, I think that's about right. I think maybe it should be a little bit heavily in favor of Alternate, but Meet Your Makers have been actually playing well lately.
Yeah, of course. Don't forget to get over to lolesports.com, where you also can check out spelling mistakes that we see here sometimes. Of course, tomorrow's matches, there's another 6 games, so you can get over and vote for all of those. You can also check out all the VODs and the stats, everything that's happened over in the North American LCS as well as here. Of course, the North American LCS just had 12 games over the last 2 days, so if you missed them, check them out. Of course, this is the last time, though, that Alternate and Meet Your Makers are going to meet this season, and so far, when they've met, it's all been Alternate. They're 3-0 up against Meet Your Makers.
Yeah, and obviously it's a little bit too late to turn around that head-to-head record, which you really hope you could do, because if you ever get tied up, obviously, in the playoffs or right before the playoffs, you're going to have that playoff in that best of one. That's a playoff way too much there. But, you know, Alta's been pushing them around so many times this season. And right now, Meet Your Makers, if they can pick up a victory here, just think of the confidence boost that it would give them. Like, they would go in with the next game tomorrow with their heads held high. They'd have the next 5 games to play next weekend and hopefully be able to pick up victories there.
Yeah, Meet Your Makers, they need every win they can get if they want to make it to the playoffs. If they want to pull it off, they need to contain Lord, the man on your screen that's getting an intense zoomed focus on his eyes. I want to see the glint in his eyes, see what he's looking at. But of course, alongside him has been Kerp. Kerp has been trouble, honestly, for Meet Your Makers, and each time they met.
Yeah, let's run over some numbers for you, because these are some impressive statistics. Currently, Lord is 18, 3, and 40 against them this season, and Kerp is 25, 6, and 32. Like, that is just ridiculous scores to have against a single team in particular. But not only do they have to worry about them, there's still Aranea and Jayri to worry about. Arenea's always aggressive in the jungle, where Makati's kind of the he's kind of the opposite of that. I got the right word eventually, as he's passive. And then Jayri, who's been amazing this season on his aggressive supports, will have his AD carry Creatine back from injury. And Alternate's bot lane is terrifying. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, Makata on your screen there. He's been the shot caller for Meet Your Makers, and he really needs to be on point in this match. He's also the jungler, of course, and is it really maybe putting too much pressure on his shoulders, I wonder?
Well, I remember talking to him back in Tenerife, and we talked to him about, you know, his team, and he was saying, you know, right now, I think I'm the weakest link of the team. Like, there's a lot of things that I'm doing wrong. There's a lot of mistakes I'm making, and he's been working at them consistently. And yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, it's pretty much his team. They're all living at his house to boot camp. He's making all the calls of the game. He's the jungler to make plays happen. That is so much pressure to have on your shoulders, and I wonder really how much it affects him.
Oh, we were so seeing the main thing for me is the Shen bans. He was so good on Shen, and it seems that everybody figured it out. You take away Shen, you take away Elise, and suddenly Meet Your Makers, they're in a little bit of trouble. So we'll see if that works out as well in this matchup. Nautilus and Twisted Fate have been taken away by Alternate, so clearly that tells me Makana has probably been practicing Nautilus pretty heavily over the last week. The Sandra being taken away, well, that's been used by Frelnor pretty heavily. There's the Shen ban, but it's coming out from Meteor Makers because don't forget Kerp. He's had some devastating matches on that Shen.
I was expecting to see him throw his hands up, like, yes, I don't have to play Shen, I can play something else. And yeah, he's not going to be on that champion, but that also means Makane's not going to be on that champion, which you said before, Summer Promotion Tournament, early in the season, he played so well on. He's not going to have that comfort champion to go to. We saw him playing Lee Sin last week, but he wasn't that successful on it, so I really want to see what he's going to use this time.
No, and of course, you don't want to be taking Lee Sin away from RNA. Well, maybe you do want to take it away from him. Elise has been banned, so Kubon's not going to be getting that one. Thresh being taken away from J-Ree as well. That leaves a number of champions available. Let's see what alternate use as that first pick, though.
He looks so calm and collected right now. He's like, yeah, I know I'm going to pick. I'm just going to wait about 40 seconds to lock that one in. But, I mean, he played Kha'Zix last week. He played Malphite. He can play a lot of different things. But the Lee Sin, just like you mentioned, maybe Alternate wants to lock that in for RNA. Maybe they want to grab that for him. I was going to say, like, I mean, we've seen Charu play it before. I didn't think that he would actually be the one to lock it in. But Jerry, who played Blitzcrank both games last weekend, going to be on Nami this time, which, I mean, if you can hit a hook, you can land at Aqua Prison, and he's been able to do that plenty of times so far.
Well, we saw Kubon singing in the last match. Seemed happy to be the man on camera. This time around, he's giving us the eyebrows. Not so sure which way it's going to go. Give us another eyebrow roll. Go on. Wait for it. Go on. It's coming. Wait for that. There it was. There it was. Working it.
What's his hand doing up? Does he have a question to ask?
He wants to ask the Twitter question. That's what it was. He wanted one of those new Logitech mices. So we are going to see Ari being locked in there. So Charu will be taking Ari in that mid lane. Happy to pick it openly at the start, which is dangerous. But then again, Ari's not really one of those champions you can counter so well with.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I mean, we've seen him. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
McLevain, it's back.
I mean, okay, so if we think back to Intel Extreme Masters Cologne,
yeah.
He played Vayne, he played Kog'Maw so phenomenally well. Like, his micromanagement on his AD carries is through the roof. Like, I haven't really seen anyone that can match it on par in the European scene. So on this Vayne, if he just has the opportunity to finally do something like that, because he gets shut down so many times by the enemy team, then he'll be able to really flourish. The Ari on Charu played so many times, such a strong champion for him, and you're definitely right. It's really hard to counter that, especially when he plays with TP. And I think Arne is trolling us, but I really hope we do see Zilean locked in.
Well, we all are also seeing Ezreal potentially being selected for Creaton here, one of the KDA kings of the European LCS, and it seemed to carry on that way in the first match of the day against SK Gaming, and there is Lee Sin for Aranea. So immediately they've got 3 champions that honestly would probably be their primary picks.
Yeah, I 100% agree right now. And with the Ezreal coming in, Creaton's going to go blue build. I mean, that's what he does. He likes to have his unique little version of it. But considering you're up against a Vayne, like, if you get your Iceborne Gauntlets, she can't catch you. Like, there's no way. As long as you hit your skill shots, you can be able to stay away from her quite well. And that kind of shuts her down as we get into that mid to late game kind of phase.
Charu on your screens there. I think the youngest of the team. He certainly looks the youngest of the team, that's for sure. The baby-faced assassin effectively in that mid lane. Looking like it's going to be Libic Zyra being selected here. And we talked about in the first match, actually, talking about how Libic doesn't generally go for the champions like your Thresh. He won't really pick it out there. He'll quite happily go for a Zyra first.
Yeah, and so I'm actually thinking, because last week we saw Kubon playing Karthus top lane, if you remember that. Like, he was in a solo lane. I was thinking maybe we'll see Charu on Zyra again. Because, like, back into Extreme Masters Singapore, Libic played a lot of Zyra, but Charu could as well. Like, we all knew he could. So when they picked that champion, the other team was like, is that middle? Is that bottom? Just like for the Giants in this spring split with Morden in the middle lane. So that will most likely be on Libic, though. And the Nocturne, I actually really like that, but not on that team. Because Nocturne does really well at shutting down, like, teleports. If you can't see a minion to jump to, you can't teleport to him. So if you can time it correctly, which I've been talking to a certain team about in particular, then you can really stop that. But it's going to be very interesting to see how well he uses it in these fights, because if you can shut down Vision against an already blind Monk, then you're going to be able to make some ganks happen.
Diana and Zed currently being hovered over. We have seen the Time Lord Zilean being hovered over a number of times because they're clearly wasting time by doing that. Let's see if they do lock them in. Orianna would be the safe bet against the Nari in that mid lane. We have seen a number of Oriannas from Pharrell Nord worked very, very well earlier on today, as well as, again, this time Zed. We saw Zed in the last game, how strong he can be, but can be countered.
I'm pretty sure that Ari is not that strong against Orianna. Like, just
but it's kind of they nullify each other.
Yeah, it's just like, to lock down the ultimate on her is really hard because she has her ultimate to get away with those 3 charges, so she's very mobile. But you do have the charm. It's one of those things where you're picking it like, I know I'm going to have a tough time in lane, but it's for the better of the team. It's for the team fights. Like, you're going to take that sacrifice early on to use it later in the game. I would love to see that picked because Brand is ridiculously strong right now. It's just people haven't realized how necessarily. I'm not going to say how I know that, but I do.
Sneaky.
I do. But
Any Brand.
Huh?
Any Brand combo. Someone,
Oh, man.
Cloud9, maybe going to break that one out. I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can say, because it was on the first day of NALCS where they're already locked in the top 2 positions for the playoffs, so they can do exactly whatever they want.
But it is going to be Zac being locked in as the final choice. So Kubon's going to be on that Zac in that top lane again. Interesting setup straight away there. Zac versus Zed. If that's not going to be a 2v1 lane.
I'm trying to think, because with a Vayne Zyra, well, just with the Vayne period, you kind of want a 2v1. You don't want to go up against an Ezreal Nami who can lock you down, who can dodge your skill shots off of Zyra, obviously not Vayne. Obviously not Vayne. But, so I would assume that would be a 2v1. And Kerp, who on Zed, you actually have a little bit of nerf back in 3.7, I believe it was, or 3.8, where his Q damage was reduced in terms of going through all the minions. You can't wave clears quick, so he's going to have a tough time doing that. But if Arnett kind of camps his lane a little bit early on, make sure he doesn't get pushed out at level 1, he should be fine.
Well, what do we look towards the junglers? We're seeing Makana, the fact that he's gone back to Nocturne. It was a champion that he used to use way back. And we have his Spin of Doom right there as we see the League of Legends logo. And there is Alternate. Kerp looking intense, and I hope he's not giving us the Vs there.
Well, I don't know what that means, but I don't know what that means. Anyways, we do have right now that... I was just taking a look at the stats real quick because Meteor Makers, we always talked about them taking the first turret really early on. And if they can get that first turret, then they can kind of control the game. But they've actually slipped back to 6th place at about 10 minutes and 16 seconds in the summer split. And Alternate, who pretty much are second in terms of first blood timing and first turret timing, it kind of leads me to believe that Alternate's going to keep up this early aggression, try to go for an early kill. And we saw earlier on today in the first game that Alternate played that people are trying to camp Kuban just like they did with Evil Geniuses, who, you kill him first, you keep him out of the game, you take his turret, and then you just kind of snowball from there. So I want to know if Arne is going to try to set that one up.
He's going to be running that Nocturne, running whether he's going to be able to help out his brother, who's alongside him to the right there, Makler. This time on Vayne. Will his Vayne be able to carry his team through? Will Charu's Ari be able to carry his team through? Taking teleport as always. Will he be on point? It means that they could potentially have 4 members piling down to that bottom lane. That's generally what Meteor Makers do. That's their thing, their gimmick. It does work. It catches teams out. But other teams here in the LCS, they seem to have them figured out right now. Meteor Makers currently lingering 8-13 at the bottom of the table, while obviously Alternate picked up a win already today, are 12-9 and chasing Lemon Dogs for that first place. They won't get it if they win because they'll be 13-9, so 1 game difference between them. But as it stands, Meteor Makers, they have to really start picking up victories if they want to get themselves out of this relegation position.
Yeah, and you really think like the mental effect that it has on them, knowing that they're bottom position, or not bottom position, but really close to it. And they're up against a team who's been able to beat them 3 times already. Right now, Arne is going to go in on a Libic here. It actually might get the flash. Did you see the flash Aqua Prison, though?
Yeah, flash Aqua Prison, but immediately countered by a flash from Libic. But that means both supports have used those flashes, so we'll see whether that gets used and countered by the junglers early on. They know the exact timers on those, so they'll be able to keep track. They did get that ward, of course, on the blue buff. So Alternate are going to be ready and waiting, and know they have vision. And looking at Meteor Makers, they're setting up. They're wondering whether they're going to have a red invade. Doesn't seem like they are. Alternate don't look like they have any intention at all of invading. In fact, really, they've just gone simply for 2 defensive wards.
I was actually thinking, would they try to go for a blue steal here? Because I think back to back to SK, and to a lot of teams that have been doing this, they realize the jungler doesn't smite the first buff anymore, so you can take advantage of that. SK did that against CLG EU back at Gamescom in 2012, so why not maybe go for the same thing here? And looks like Libic actually might try to go for that, but it will be spotted by a ward.
Yeah, pops that ward out as soon as he stepped forward. Ferelnor was ready and waiting for that one, but it is going to be the blue buff start for both teams. We'll see whether Makana uses his smite. Don't believe he will be. Had heavy help from Kuban, so Kuban's going to be going into lane. So it will be 2v1 lanes. Kuban will be up against Creaton and J-Ree. That's going to be Ezreal and Nami in that bottom lane. Meanwhile, in this top lane, we see Makler and Libic setting themselves up. It's going to be Vayne and Zyra. They're going to be up against Kerp, of course, on Zed.
We saw this actually happen in the game number 1 when they were playing against SK earlier on today, is that Kerp actually sticks with RNA in the jungle because there's no reason for him to go to lane right now. He's just going to get harassed. He's not going to be able to pick anything up. And it looks like he actually shares a little bit of experience with RNA there just so he can get his level 2 a little bit quicker so he can't be pushed out of lane right away.
There's the red buff going to RNA. Let's see if he goes aggressive. We saw him cause Cyanide on Lee Sin. He went out on a bit of a longer farming path than normal, and it seems that RNA may well be going the same route. As it stands, though, Makana doing very much a similar path, a mirror path, effectively, and they are both around the rates. Let's see if they're going to go help out their mid laners. I don't think it will be. Kerp desperately trying to get in and get some CS. He's picked up one. That's all that counts. Can he throw out, get the second? No, he can't. He missed.
And it takes a little bit of harass for that anyways. And yeah, both junglers, I mean, a little bit surprised RNA hasn't ganked just yet. He's just farming up towards that level 4, it looks like. And Makade, who, you know, you're Nocturne, you have the ability to do some really good harass or really good ganks early on because you have that fear tether, but it's all about that level 6 for him. That ultimate, I can make it so Charo won't be spotted teleporting in. Just, you can't really counter that right now.
Well, Kerp needs a little bit of help, and you can see that RNA is there ready and waiting, and both junglers doing identical jobs still, mirroring them paths. Makana is down at the bottom alongside Kuban just to help out and defend those turrets off. RNA is going to do just the same job. They realize Kerp that has only just hit level 2 needed the assistance of his jungler. Meanwhile, the mid lane, Charu actually taking some damage here. Went aggressive on towards Ferelnord, baits him in, throws the orbs back across and catches him with a full blast there. Just hits level 4, so Charu with the slight experience level at the moment, but both are very, very low on mana, so not really going to engage, not going to go looking for the kills just yet.
But it shows, like, both these mid players are just trying to make something happen. Like, they're trying to get that damage in. They're trying to get that early first blood just so they can kind of help other lanes out. They really want to kind of snowball the game for themselves, which Ultimate's been able to do in 3 of the 4 matchups so far. And RNA's heading back towards top again. He's just trying to make sure that Kerp doesn't get pushed out, doesn't miss out on too much experience, because that's all that's really going to matter right now for him. And he'll be able to build his items a little bit later. And Charo burning his teleport middle, so he's not going to have that lane presence, or that ganking presence. However, that gives Makade time to hit that level 6.
Yeah, surprises me at level 4 you seem to use that, show it really effectively right in Ferelnord's face, so they're going to have the timer on that. They know exactly what he's going to do, and straight away, heads up towards the top. They thought about the ward actually being there, but that ward had worn off actually, so there wasn't a ward there, so they could have got away with walking up there. Because there is another ward further up the river though, so maybe not.
With that teleport though, it'll give Charo that earlier level 6. So if he hits level 6 before Ferelnord and goes for the fight, obviously he doesn't have Ignite, so his doing damage isn't going to be as high, but if you get it before Ferelnord, you have that potential to kill him, and that would really give you a strong start in this game.
Jerry warding out the Dragon River area entrance there, so he's making sure he doesn't get caught out. Kerp getting some good farm going on now. He's been pushed in towards that. A good burst of damage, though, coming out from Makler and Libic there. Quickly, actually, ironically, condemned him out of the plant that Libic had put down.
Yeah, I was just trying to get that Solar Bolt proc, because Condemn does proc it, so I mean, since it's changed to have it, you're at auto attack range now, you can get that proc off a little bit earlier, and because you kind of build, you kind of level up Silver Bolts a little bit early on, it gives you a little bit of extra damage too.
So wise mechanics being used there. RNA though, he's sat ready and waiting. Makana comes down. Oh, that's going to be the bubble catching on towards Kuban. They're going to come in towards them. They're not really going to catch on towards him. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we do see Ferelnord flashing for aggression on towards Charu. Ignite was used, but he did manage to flash away. So a lot of summoner spells burnt by both mid laners, and it's Charu that's forced to go back to base.
Yeah, and the thing is, he teleported in before Ferelnord even got there, so he had the opportunity at 6. We do see the engage happening on the bottom.
Meanwhile, RNA, the fear tether does turn him in towards him. Will that be enough to kill him off? The Ignite's going to be running, but a quick exhaust being used on Makana. RNA does get away from that one very, very low. And still, no first blood between these two teams. Charu finally went back to base as well. We do see Ferelnord backing off as well, but that gave him that slightest of advantages in that mid lane.
And that fear tether is just so frustrating, because you never know where it's going to send the other person on the team. So you can either send him towards you or send him back to safety. And right there, it kind of did a little bit of both, because he started running towards the turret and then ran away at the end. But right now, in terms of CS, I mean, we're pretty even across the board, right? AD carries are pretty much even, mid lane's pretty much even. The only real discrepancy is the top laners, which right now Kerp has an advantage over. And if they can keep Kerp out of that Brutalizer, out of that Bilgewater Cutlass range, then you pretty much stop his damage for a good while.
Kerp in this top lane continuing to be harassed by Libic. Non-stop doing those basic attacks every chance he gets. Blue buffs, they have respawned, and they're going to be given across towards their mid laners retrospectively, and Ferelnord will take his. Assuming Charu hasn't yet got his. Makata has just been helping out in that bottom lane. Now it's going to be available, but Charu's like, I really don't want to lose out in this lane here because I want to make sure I can harass Ferelnord as much as possible. Now he's going across there. No harassment going to be coming out from Alternate, so it's going to be a free blue buff for Charu.
Yeah, I just wanted to shove that lane. He didn't want to miss out on any minion kills, and obviously Ferelnord with that blue buff would be able to push it back. And both these mid laners are just trying to farm up these raids as much as possible, really reminiscent of that Season 2 before the jungle was changed around a little bit. And right now, I mean, 8 minutes in, relatively slow game where Alternate on average get first blood around that 4 minutes, or pretty much 4 minutes and 49-second mark. Kind of shows Alternate playing a little bit safe here. They won their game earlier. They want to be able to pick this one up too, just to kind of get their place back at the top of the table.
Well, both teams have effectively mirrored each other for the first 8 minutes. Both junglers have been doing indirect paths, top and bottom of the lanes, and you can see that Kuban's held onto that turret fairly well. Meanwhile, in the top lane, it's still pretty even between them. So both lanes have put pressure on the towers, and it seems that Maker's actually trying to work that one down, which surprises me. I would have thought Makla would be happy to stay in lane just a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, just get a lot more free farm. And the thing is, once you take that turret down, it gives Kerp the opportunity to just start free farming. Like, if you don't keep him in check, if you don't keep pushing that top lane, or you don't make it so Zach can go up against him and kind of pressure him, then he's going to be a real threat, really hard to deal with.
Well, Charu is taking a lot of harass from Ferelnord here, using that attack command, catching him where he stands and using the dissonance to put a little bit of poke on him, keeping good ball control over Charu right now.
Makata is level 7, so he has his ultimate available. Ferelnord doesn't have flash up. If he can land that charm, this is going to be a kill.
Doesn't throw it out, but look at the distance Ferelnord's keeping. He's making sure he's well aware of the danger that it could cause. He realizes that Makata's not shown himself for a long time down in that bottom lane or the top, so everybody's aware that that paranoia does bring him from long distances, and with effectively not that many wards out there at the moment from either team, they have to be careful about this one. Kraton's taking a lot of damage and harass as well. And Makata, again, here comes the teleport. It's going to be Charu coming in, uses that ultimate. Can he cast the charm out? No, he can't. Flash is coming out from Kraton. Makata did not use Paranoia there. I feel he could have caught on towards him. I think they were waiting for the flashes to finish out. He had Arcane Shift available and Barrier as well, so
I think he was waiting for the charm, because if the charm landed, then he ulted in, knew the person would flash away then, and then that means they wouldn't escape the fear tether. They could have followed up with Zach, obviously, in the Let's Bounce, but still teleport used. Teleport not successful. That's the second one now, I guess, the second one you can count it for Charu. And we talked about him originally. He was the type of person that uses that teleport in that late game. He likes to split push, cause it to be a threat, and then just teleport into fights. But lately, over these past 2 weeks, he's been using it in the laning phase a lot more to really make some kills happen, and it's been shut down so far.
Stay aggressive. Makers, though, being aggressive. They're trying to take down this top turret as quick as possible. It's a even CS between the two AD carries, and generally that means Vayne is going to do a better job late game. But of course, as you mentioned in the previous match, you can easily shut him down still. Makers are definitely going to be relying on that damage from Makla, though, because looking at the rest of the team, Paranoia finally popped. This time it's on towards Jerry. Let's Bounce goes in there as well. This could be first blood. It is first blood. It's Kuban that picks it up. He launches himself, catches on Kraton, who Arcane shifts away.
And that's what happens when you don't have flash to get away from a Zac and a Nocturne Grid Jumbo Makata. To stick around, to make that play happen, get first blood, which ended up going over to Kuban, who was already falling behind to CS and, against Kerp, but that's going to help him out quite a bit. And are you able to make anything happen after this? They could get that top turret, then rotate bottom and go for a dragon. That actually would be a very good play for them if they want to go for it.
But while Charu has been trying to make these plays, moving around, the map gets caught by the shockwave, actually. Turns around, pops the ultimate out there, does quickly dash away from that one. The moment Aranea showed himself out there, Makata is there, but I don't think he's going to be able to defend this one out. The turret's getting taken very low already. What I was about to say is Ferelnord's put a hell of a lot of harass on towards that turret every time Charu teleports away.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you need to do. And because he's Orion, he has really good, decent wave clear. He can get to that turret right away and really punish him. I mean, that's what you do against a Twisted Fate when he ults away. Why not do it against a person that teleports? And luckily for him, the teleport, or lucky for Ferelnord, the teleport didn't make anything happen over on Charu's side. However, with that flash going down, they eventually did pick up a kill.
Okay, interesting lane rotation here. It is going to be Charu going towards the top lane, and you can see it's actually Makla and Limik that are going in towards that mid lane. They realize it's taken low, and they want to put pressure back on Ferelnord.
Okay, so if we do have Kerp head back towards the top side, then he I'm trying to think, does he have the potential to kill him in that with that damage? And I believe he actually does. As long as he combos it perfectly, he'll be able to have that burst to take him out, and that would give him a great start to already being in a 2v or a 1v2 lane here.
We'll see how it works out. Of course, it does mean that Kuban, who's nearly got that Sunfire cape, did pick up that kill a moment ago, is going to continue in this 2v1 lane, and he's done a good job at holding off that turret, but that turret's not got much longer left on it in that bottom lane, so it's all down to this middle pairing to really try and keep the pressure on towards Ferelnlord now.
And it's really hard to do that, man, because if you have a Lee Sin potentially ganking you from 2 different positions, it's really tough to farm safely unless you have the wards down and really prevent that from happening. And we know RNA, he's a strong Lee Sin player. He can get behind you and kick you into Ferelnlord pretty much anytime he wants to, as long as he has that positioning.
And of course, thinking of the positioning now, we're at the coming up to the 14-minute mark. In terms of Dragon, this is very good positioning for Meteor Makers, because with Mikado and Kuban currently down the bottom area of the map, you've got the 2 mid-duo laners in the mid lane. Teleport going to be available on Sharo. They could all pile onto that Dragon fight.
And what's the weird thing is that Meteor Makers, even with this advantage, they're actually the slowest Dragon taking team in the summer split at about 13 minutes and 58 seconds. Or alternate, they're the 3rd quickest team at 10 minutes and 15 seconds, and yet neither team has necessarily gone for it just in the beginning of this game, because they're trying to play really safe here. Alternate, this is very unlike their normal playstyle. They're usually very aggressive, and right now they're just being very passive. And it kind of plays into the hand of Meteor Makers, considering they have a Vayne.
Themes has just been completed by Ferelnlord, so we'll see whether, with that item complete, when they try and create plays, it seems that this bottom turret is finally going to go down. Alternate will take that one down. RNA came in to make sure of that, and are they going to fold on towards the Dragon afterwards? They are heading that direction, so not too sure whether they want to start it off, though. It seems that they're going to peel around the backside. They're very cautious of wards on the river. And in fact, they are going to back away from this one. Sharu, he's keeping pressure in this top lane. He's trying to keep Kerp at bay, and Kerp seems a little bit unsure. Certainly not as sure as Bjergsen was in the last game about how he's going to be diving on towards Sharu.
Yeah, and that was actually with him having a lot of armor. When Bjergsen was up against Xpekis. So he was able to burst him down, but because he just doesn't have his Build-to-Water Cutlass, which it's amplified in damage when he uses it when his ultimate's up on him, he doesn't really have that burst potential. Doesn't feel confident enough just yet, but Mikado right now, ultimate available again. He's sticking around towards this top side of the map. He wants to potentially go for Kerp here and make this kill happen, or maybe they're even trying to bait in RNA right now. But if Mikado shows himself, they will lose a Dragon guaranteed.
Well, Mikado is a long, long way on that river here. Hasn't been spotted yet. You can see the Dragon being started off. He's never going to get close enough to this one. It's going to be Alternate taking this Dragon, and nothing at all that Meteor Makers can do. This teleport on towards the red, cancelled by Sharu.
That was that was a brilliant position to put a ward too, because whoever checks in that pit to like have vision of someone coming in, never. I mean, that was just so far in deep lines, which is what Meteor Makers used to do a lot earlier in the season with their really aggressive warding, allowing Sharu to have opportunities like that. Unfortunately for him, doesn't really get anything off that teleport, but he does get the cooldown cut in half because he did cancel it himself.
He did cancel it himself, and we'll see when that's back available, whether he's going to try and use it and go aggressive again. It seems that he's going to give up on pushing that top inner turret. Also going to be a change around in the mid lane, it seems. Makla's backing off. And Libic, well, they pinged him. They said, we know he's here. Pink Ward war has begun. And it's going to be J-Reed taking down that pink ward of Libix. As the ping was just there. Actually, no, he missed it. No, he did get it. He got it.
Yep, got it actually perfectly. So battle is really tough because this allows someone to rotate in through a team. Like even come in, like RNA is right now. He can come in for a gank through that spot. You can have Ferelnlord go down to the bottom without being seen until he gets there from that spot. But with it being out of that laning phase, with teams grouping up middle now, war doesn't really mean as much.
So 16.5 minutes gone, 1 kill. It's a riveting match so far, I feel. I'm pretty much on the edge of... No, I'm beyond the edge of my seat. I'm actually up and stood up and watching. I may have to sit back down in a moment because, frankly, these teams are not really going at it like we like to see. Something like I'd like to see. And I feel you guys at home may be on the same page as me as well. You need to get a little bit of excitement wrenched into this match. Maybe it will start to kick off in a moment. Generally, when you see these matches, when they do take a long time in the laning phases to build themselves up, it tends to suddenly snowball very quickly.
Yeah, it gets really explosive out of nowhere, and we're pretty much in the perfect game for that. Like, I can feel it. It's just it's starting to get to that rim. It's starting to get to that breaking point where it seems like, all right, I want to fight. I want to make something happen. I'm getting bored myself. I want to like make a play happen, go for Dragon, go for a Bear, and make some plays. And right now, I think also just with the lineup they have, like they could be the ones to make it happen, even though like Meteor Makers, they have a very well-farmed Vayne right now, has a Blade of the Rune King, like they could go for some fights. Smackler can 1v1 pretty much anyone right now.
Well, you think of the games that we had of Alternate, you think of the matches we saw, and you think these were the Kings of Chaos. That's how they beat the Gambit.
Exactly.
That's how they went up against some of the teams. I don't know if they actually did beat Gambit with that one. It was
0-3 now against Gambit.
Yeah, they didn't beat Gambit. They were the only ones that they couldn't actually beat. They've beaten everyone else at least once, apart from Gambit. So bad example, Lee.
But we know what you mean. Like that's exactly what they thrived on. And in that game, the first game we saw them play against each other, Gambit actually out-chaosed them, out-controlled them. I mean, it was just very well done. And also, they just seem to have, I don't know, like they changed their style up. And it's not like it's not working out for them. They're still at the top of the table, but obviously it's not going to be as exciting as you'd hope for.
No, but the mid lane turret has gone down for Unlord. Worked very hard on getting that one. And it's Alternate. They now have themselves an advantage in turrets. And Makler was moved into that mid lane. RNA has been forced away from the blue buff, but they have managed to get themselves a pink ward down. True Shot Barrage coming across. Will it cut him towards Sharu? Nope, just going to miss him in that bottom corner. He was pushing away. That'll catch him out, though. Leaving Shadow and a couple of shurikens find their home. And Kerp prevents him backing off. Makler's coming across, though. Are they going to try and catch someone out here? No, simple ward placement. Unlord covers that one off.
If you look what Kerp has, he actually went for a boot to mobility, so he wants to be able to roam around the map quickly, he wants to be able to get back to his lane very fast to push it back out again, because he knows Char's going to stick there. He's going to keep split pushing, they're going to funnel farm into him and allow him to try to 1v1 anyone and keep some aggression on that second turret.
So 19 minutes gone. Just about 2,000 gold almost, give or take. We don't mind the old 100 gold. We don't really count that bit. It's not really important. But it is a 2-1 turret advantage for Alternate. And that generally means that Meteor Makers are starting to fall behind. And when they fall behind, they fall into trouble, and that's how they find themselves in this situation already. The fact that they were only 8-13 and they were 4-0 in week 1 tells you just how many troubles they have been over the last 8 weeks. And currently, starting off today, it's continued that way, unfortunately, for them, with a defeat to the Lemon Dogs, who, in fairness, were top of the table, but it was the first defeat they've actually had to the Lemon Dogs so far this season. Now against Alternate, they are up against a 4-0 deficit. That's not something you want to go against any team. That would actually be the first time in the season that someone's gone 4-0 as well.
Yeah, and you don't want to be the team that has that 0 in that, but when I count Kerp, he's sticking around, he's going for the dive on a Makler.
He manages to get a death mark, quickly turns it around, flashes back in as soon as his support comes in there, but not really sure on that one, whether he was going to try and condemn him on the wall. Didn't really find the chance, though. They do get the bottom to it, but there goes the shockwave, pulls Makata and Kubon back in. There's going to be Charu teleporting in. He goes very deep, quickly gets exhausted and has to dash himself out of there. Let's bounce from Kubon. That did effectively nothing, and Creaton's going to finish this one off. It's going to pop the passive of Kubon, and he's going to get cleaned up. Who will pick up the kill? It's going to be Creaton. He's gifted it, and he's going to keep that KDA padding up towards the top, and continuing actually to chase Peke as well for the kills.
Yeah, and considering he's out for 2 weeks, that's pretty damn impressive. And he's going for his own little version of the blue build. No one really goes the Spirit of the Elder Lizard anymore except him. And I mean, you can't really say anything bad about it when he's constantly winning games with it. So with that little bit of CS lead, with Dragon coming up about 5 seconds, Alternate with that kill are already set up for it. And with the ultimate being down on Makade, they're like, all right, well, we're going to get a free Dragon here. So as long as Kerp can hold this turret, it's going to work out for him.
Double plant catch there on Kerp there. And actually, you can see the silver bolts proccing. He's going to finish him off. Makler goes deep and gets the kill on Kerp.
And will they be able to get this turret? Because if they get the turret and that kill, they're going to get such a huge advantage from that. They'll get the inner turret, which no one has just yet for either team. And it looks like they actually should be able to take it, because no one on Ultimate's here, as long as they're just feeling confident enough that they can sit there and do it.
Well, the True Shot Barrage cleared out the way, but it doesn't matter. Meteor Makers do take that inner, and now they're actually working on the middle outer, and if they can get this one down, it's a great turner of events. The charm lands on towards RNA. He takes a lot of damage, but again, that middle turret, that's taken down very low. So, Dragon for a top inner turret. That's not a good trade.
No, and a death onto Kerp, who kind of needs to be alive. He's going to have his Blade of the Rune King done, but a kill over to Vayne, more important for Makler. He's going to have that Seal built up now. Almost has a Banner Dancer, which is like the 2 major core items for a Vayne. And they pretty much played that flawlessly. Like they pushed top, got the kill, and then when they realized the ultimate backed away, they're like, all right, we'll push middle now, since there's no one there to really stop us.
So Kraton and the rest of Alternate start to group in this mid lane, but coming up the river is a big green slimy monster. It is Kubon. He has his eyebrows ready and waiting to launch himself in there and goes the opposite direction.
And actually interesting, he's going for a Zonius. Most Zacs build like a Haunting Guise and like a Spirit of Visage and a Sunfire Cape, but he's going for the extra sustain here and extra survivability in the middle of these fights, and you see that's going to work out. Obviously, you can use the Zonius when you're in Let's Bounce. It's really cool.
Oh, the ultimate's been used. Forced the flash away from Libic. Libic steps aside of that True Shot Barrage. Kubon tries to catch himself in there. Chara using his ultimate as well to dash in. A lot of ultimates burnt, a lot of summoner spells burnt there. No one actually being caught out, and that was all a case of Libic taking some damage from Kraton. Now you can see Alternate. They're going to push on there. Aqua Prison not going to land. That's going to be Stranglethorns. This is going to be Let's Bounce. Aranea is going to be the focus of target. Paranoia goes in towards him. He gets caught out. You can see the good Kerp tries to dive in. Makla's not having any of it. He turns that back around. Kraton goes aggressive. He gets caught out as well. You can see J-Ree. He's going to get caught. Gets the Aqua Prison on towards Makla. Makla steps away from this one. Kubon taking low. Makla actually full health. He's just backing away. He's not helping out here. Doesn't want to get caught out by Pharrell Lord. And instead, they have to give up their top laner. It was a top laner for a jungler. And Meteor Makers, well, they back away from this one. Everybody steps away and thinks, whew, close fight.
And wow, because Makler, he actually pushed Kerp out of that fight. Like, he chased him down. He ended up getting away. Then he's like, all right, switch my attention to Jerry. He ends up flashing over that wall. And just those two players of Alternate pretty much kept that fight to a bare minimum in terms of losses for him. And that was just, I mean, fantastic job for Kerp. I don't know how to say it, because all he did was run away, but he kept the attention onto him and kept Makler from hitting anyone else.
And maybe, just maybe, that was his poor fire focus. Actually saying that, the Condemn on the Pharrell Lord catches out there. He won't walk into the orbs, and he's going to get caught out. That's going to be a good grasping route coming out from Libic, but is he going to be enough? They will get the slowdown. There's the kick. Makler caught out, and now he gets dropped. Now Alternate can turn the power on. Makler simply caught out of position and simply going too far down that lane for the rest of Alternate, who all respawned and got back in there. Meteor Makers couldn't react quick enough.
And they should have pushed this turret down too. They already had some good damage onto it, and with all 5 members there, or sorry, 4 members, as we do see Frontline going bottom right now, he's still running away, thinking he's being chased, it looks like. Oh, he's just firing up double golems, but here we go. They're gonna go for the turret, and so they back away. They're not feeling too confident. They don't know exactly where Charo is. And even though Charo, 219 CS has an assist, he has a lot of damage behind him with that DFG.
Yeah, well, he's going to clear out a big fat stack in the bottom. No, he's not, actually. It looks like Kubon's going to be gifted that. He needs a bit of farm, it seems, so Kubon will be happy to take that. It's got that Sunfire Cape. Chara's trying to pick up that blue buff. In comes Aranea. He's just going to smite it away. That's going to be rude. No, he missed it! He missed it! Would you believe it? He has to safeguard away from it, and Charu did manage to get it purely out of luck, I think, with Aranea. Just simply mistimed that.
And that was huge, because that allows Charo to obviously have the blue buff so he can kind of fight a little bit more at turrets, but the cooldown reduction on his ultimate, on his abilities, is just going to help him so much, because they're dependent on a lot of his damage right now. Him and Makler, where Coupon, yeah, he does do some damage, but he's not the main damage source for the team, and we know how damn good Charo is on his Ahri, and that might come back to bite Alternate on the butt a little bit later.
A big wave on that top lane. Kerp is pushing in there, but Makler's coming up. Not afraid to back out of a fight from Kerp already. We've seen that Terra is very low, but I feel Makler's going to be able to defend this one off, and he's going to himself a lot more farm. Actually pretty close in terms of CS between them, considering they're both 200 plus. It's just a 20 CS gap between the AD carries. In terms of gold, though, you can see it is Kraton, of course, with a 1,000 gold lead, because he got those 3 kills compared to the 2 earlier on. Meteor Makers, though, they are not down and out just yet, despite the fact Alternate are starting to gain those advantages. It is just 2,000 gold, or 1.5 effectively. And Makana, he's waiting in the wings. He's waiting for someone to bait on towards Makler, and then that paranoia will get popped. But Kerp, yeah, he's not really falling for this.
Yeah, and Makani hasn't been too effective in this game just yet. I mean, he's had a couple of ultimates. He obviously did get first blood bottom lane, but ever since then, like, he hasn't really been able to make anything happen, because they're out of that laning phase already, because they're depending on catching someone out of Alternate off guard, or at least by themselves. And right now with Alternate, they're just grouping up. They're staying together. They're not allowing that paranoia to pick anyone off, because if Makani does commit in a team fight to go into the back lines, he's just going to die. And Alternate realizes that.
Well, there's 25 seconds on this Dragon, which probably will be the focus of target. Alternate keeping that wave going up the mid lane to try and keep them occupied as they rotate around, try to getting our ward coverage down, but Meteor Makers are well aware of the situation. Makata, yeah, they're gonna be checking all those bushes, not gonna walk in towards the banana bush, just unaided, throwing those plants down, getting full vision. Kubon, he's the tanky man in the front line that is leading the charge. Ooh, that attack command ball may actually have split Meteor Makers up here. Charu is not in with his team either at the moment. He has teleport available, but he's only at half health, so even if he comes into this fight, he's going to be coming at half strength effectively. We're going to have to wait to see whether Kubon, he wants to launch himself in.
And they're not going to go for it instead, but will they actually go for the fight? We have the Paranoid coming down.
Where's he going to go? That's the question, and they're launching on towards Ferello. They catch him out. They do manage to get the kill. Shockwave didn't quite land on there. They turn it back around. They get on towards Kerp even. And I was going to say Crepo. He's in the other room watching. He doesn't die there. Don't worry, guys. He's still fine. It is going to be Kraton was the next focus, but they're back away. 2 kills for a Dragon. About even.
But not over. Meteor Makers, they're going to go for a Baron off of this, so they're going to come out ahead as long as they can take this. But RNA, he still is up. He doesn't have Smite. Meteor Makers knows this because he just used it on Dragon, and it's all about them here. They should be able to pick up this Baron if they can defend it well.
Well, True Shot Barrage is available, and they're going to have to do a fantastic job at keeping Meteor Makers occupied here, though. Libic's just going to fend them off. He's thrown out those grasping roots. Oh, Aaron Air caught in the charm. He might get locked straight up there. He's already very low. Libic does get taken apart, though. Kraton uses that True Shot Barrage. Doesn't manage to get on the White Baron. That will get picked up by Meteor Makers, and they are going to step away from this one. Will they catch on towards Kraton? They're going to launch in there. Kubon very low. He manages to get the slow onto Kraton. Is he going to be enough? The bombs come through? No! One more bolt would have done it, but Makta couldn't land it. They will try and pick up this middle turret, but the rest of Alternate are backing and reacting. Kurt might go aggressive. He uses that shockwave. Nicely done there. And that's going to be Ferello helping out, picking up the kill on towards Makta. The AD carry goes down, and what a waste of Baron that was by Meteor Makers.
It was really unfortunate. It was a great job of them to pick that up because it takes us pretty much dead, even in gold. But when you lose a Vayne with it, like that is a huge deal. You kind of need that extra damage. He went for a QSS kind of survive a little bit longer, and Frontlord, because he died before his ultimate went off at that dragon fight, he had it up for that one and was able to lock him down and pick up the kill. And now Meteor Makers, I mean, they're gonna be happy they took Baron. It keeps it off the map and it keeps it not a threat anymore for Ultimate to take, and that kind of helps out.
So Ferello back in that top lane, he's gonna get himself the turret down, and that will be the 3rd turret of the game for Alternate, putting them 4-3 behind, 6-5 down in kills, and just around about 500 gold in total difference between the two. But 3 members of Meteor Makers still sitting on that Baron. Let's see what they can do with it. Will they go aggressive or not? You're getting excited.
I'm getting very excited because I love Nocturne, and him picking up a Blade of the Rune King on a jungler. No Aegis on the team when you're against an Orianna, which could help out quite a bit, but he went for a damage item. He's trying to be very aggressive. He's trying to stick to whoever he uses it to. So if he goes for Creatine, who doesn't have his Iceborne Gauntlets just yet, he can actually keep in range with him. This is gonna be really interesting to see how we'll use this, because we never see Nocturnes build this item, as far as, at least to my knowledge. And I want to see him make a play off of it. I really do.
To be honest, we don't get to see a lot of Nocturnes these days either,
true.
which is also very true in the LCS. He's been certainly underused in compared to how he used to be back in 2012. Very much a popular pick champion with the likes of Helios from CJ Enters Blaze. But as it stands, we are seeing Maklan, Makara even, his brother. It's the taller, more handsome one apparently, so I've been told by a certain female. As it stands, Alternate, not gonna disclose any names, don't worry. Alternate, they are looking strong. Thanks, production, for that one.
So there's more farming going on, Demon.
I know. I actually am excited about that. Just contain me a little bit. Hold on, because I'm more interested in what they're going to do in this bottom lane turret. We are seeing Kubon, who's still got Baron on, launching himself. No. He thought about it and then go for it.
I mean, yeah, it's a crucial point because, yeah, they have Baron, but if they lose a team fight here, they're going to lose probably an inhibitor if it's a very one-sided fight. And Makade, he has ultimate available. He's actually being spotted right now by those wards. He's going to go back to middle to push, actually. And this is a very tricky point. His ultimate, he's level 15, doesn't have rank 3 just yet, so it's really hard for him to get from that middle lane towards the bottom. And if ultimate engages upon this with that Orianna ball, they can just shut them down, and Makade won't even be in the fight.
The thing is, Makade can split push. He's got the Blade of the Rune King. He's actually pretty strong at taking towers down himself, with that Baron buff as well, which is why we see Kerp actually going across to react to this one. And honestly, he can cover quite a big distance with that Paranoia, so he needs to step down a little bit to quickly be joining this and making it a 5-on-4 fight. But with Alternate, they have great wave clear potential, and as you can see, Meteor Maker's actually not getting remotely close to this turret.
Yeah, they know, like, just don't want to get engaged upon. They don't want to lose this fight. They want to let Makati hit that level 16 point in that middle lane, because he's been farming really well. Like, he's 158 CS. You don't really see junglers keep up that well with the other lanes, but because he's playing him as like a DPS jungler, as kind of a carry, he wants to be able to have that farm. He wants to be able to kind of keep up with that point. And you know, actually almost got caught out right there, but also they may be able to hold on to that turret. And right now, Makers have only gotten the first middle turret off of this Baron, and at the cost of Mackler's life.
And that is the Baron worn off, so it was a Baron of opportunity after all, and not really something that they used so successfully, but it did keep Meteor Makers in the game and actually put them in a bit of a driving seat. Kubon ready to launch himself, not going to go for it just yet. Yes, he will. Shockwave used nicely though by Ferelnor, caught out Charu and Makata, quickly turning the tide, and Meteor Makers having to back away from this one. Aaron Air seeing if he could catch anything out. Grasping roots being thrown out from Libic just to slow the charge of Alternate, who used that ball to try and speed themselves up. Kubon launches himself back in. Let's bounce going. Where's the Paranoia going to go? It's Ferelnor they're going to focus on, but Makata already very low before that even happens. Stranglethorn does manage to land. Quickly, Kerp takes down Makata. Next target's going to be Charu. He gets dropped. Mackler gets taken down. It's Kraton that picks up the kill there. They turn another one. That's going to be Kubon going down. Libic's going to be the ace, and that's another kill. A triple kill for Kraton. And just like that, a strange turnaround fight from Meteor Makers when they were already very low. They dive in on Alternate, and it was what a mistake of a maker.
Scumbag Creatine flashes in to steal that last kill just to bring up his KDA a bit more right now. No deaths, 7-0-2. And yeah, you're right, that was a really weird fight. It was a smart idea out of Meteor Makers. I will give him that, because they knew that Ferelnor's ultimate wasn't available. But you called it in the middle of that fight. Makati ults in, and before he even gets to his target, he's almost dead. And they were able to just single them out, burst them down quick enough to pretty much stop the entire charge of Meteor Makers. And now, Alternate, with that inhibitor going down, they have a lot of control on the map. They could go for Baron when it comes up here in a couple of minutes. They have a Dragon to take if they do want to, and a lot of gold to spend.
Well, Kraton, the KDA king, keeping them stats padded, like you said, but 7-0-2, you can't sniff at that. It's the build that he used pretty much way back when in week 1, and he's continued to use it while the rest of the world moved on, and it seems to still be working for him. So maybe, just maybe, the rest of the world should be taking another closer look at that build.
Maybe indeed. I might have to go home and be like, hey, I'm going to build this and see if it works for me. But obviously I'm not at the same level of skill as he is, so even with his broken hand, I'm nowhere near it. But right now, for our Alternate, they have Baron can open 30 seconds. Like I said before, they have the inhibitor down. They can split push if they want, or try to bait a fight out at this Baron, force Meteor Makers to leave their base and defend it. So there is one thing, though, that Meteor Makers has in their favor. If they can get a ward down on that Baron and Paranoia in, you could just fly by steal it. And there is always that possibility, and if that happens with how many times Baron has thrown games before, Meteor Makers could come back. But right now, we're going to see Makati get engaged upon, and he's just going to spell shield that Q away, so he's not actually going to get fought here. And that actually would have been a nice engage for Alternate, even though they didn't have Ferelnor or Kerp there.
Alternate set up now. Baron has spawned. Wards have been placed at least slightly on it by Meteor Makers, but Jerry with that Oracle is going to clear out anything in and around it. So effectively money not so well spent, but you've got to take your chance. You've got to get the wards in there, and sure enough, Charu goes straight in there. We just managed to land that charm on towards Kerp, but
that was funny. He walked backwards because he's trying to get to a path to actually get to him. So it's kind of funny. Actually saved him from taking any damage from Baron, or the possibility of it at least.
So Charu in the top. He's going to continue to farm out. He's got a lot of damage. Libic had a bit of a stretch on your screen in the bottom corner there, so he's ready and waiting to go. It is actually just approaching midnight here in Cologne. We have one more match to go after this one. It's going to be definitely a long night here, as expected, with 6 matches. And, of course, 6 matches tomorrow as well, but starting at an earlier time, 2 hours earlier tomorrow, I believe. So make sure to check your schedules on when everything will be happening here in Cologne in the European LCS. But as it stands, Alternate have started off the Baron. It's not quite twerking under the water right now. It is starting to jive to Alternate's beat. And it seems that Meteor Makers, they are ready to join the party, and they want to get their maracas on the go.
And you can tell, I mean, just from all games that get in this position, that this is his jam right now. He's twerking out to it right now, as you saw right there. He wants to dance. He's looking for Soaz. Where's his dance buddy? But right now, also, they're just backing away. They're actually going for engage on Livic.
He is dead. Bam. No getting out of that one. He was caught out, and that's actually a number of times that Crayon has caught him out. And obviously, being Ezreal, it can be very quick to catch onto someone with those Iceborne gauntlets. It's going to slow you down. And there's not really any escaping, and when you've not got a great deal of hit points, you've only got that Ruby Sightstone to just try and stack you out. It's going to be Charu getting caught out. He's going to have to try and get away. The wave gets thrown out there. Makala going aggressive, trying to get the damage on towards Aranea, trying to take that smite away from them. As you mentioned, he can do that drive-by with that paranoia. Makala lingering right, but he's not got a lot of hit points, and now he's got none because he gets caught out by the shockwave. Makler also getting bounced out. Aranea kicking him back away from that one. That is going to be the Baron for Alternate.
Very well played by them, too. I mean, we've seen a lot of Baron dances or a lot of Baron fights go haywire, but right there, they controlled it so well. I mean, every time someone of Mutual Makers approached that Baron, they went over that wall right after him, and that is what's so great about Elise Sin. He just has the ability to get over that wall constantly, has the ability to get back and join into that Baron again. And right now, also, they're going to go for a push on this turret. They're going to get it. And with the Super Minion still pushing middle right now, they can just wait this out, or they can just go straight go for it, because Makati's still down for 20 seconds. They have a 5-on-4 fight if they want to. And right now, Char's ultimate isn't up.
Yeah, there's not a lot going to stop them here. They can just keep doing. They can see the inhibitor turret taken down. Half their hit points. It's gone. No problems there. This is the second inhibitor of the game going down, and Alternate are looking in the driving seat here to take themselves another victory and closing out 4-0 over Meet Your Makers. There's the inhibitor gone. Now the two inhibitors gone. Oh, Kuban actually launched himself in there. Got an ignite on the back just for the sake of it to go with that already Sunfire Cape burning. Alternate back away. They've got themselves a Baron. They've got themselves a stack of gold, and they are just going to make sure they can secure the game.
They have a nice little bit of a lead, too. Not quite 10,000 just yet. But two inhibitors down, I mean, it's really... I mean, it's going to sound kind of bad, but it's really hard to lose a game at this point when you have those down, because you just with the Super Minion waves pushing, like, you have so much pressure in the enemy base. And right now, look over at Creatin's build. He has a Mercurial Scimitar, and he has a Blade of the Rune King, and he has a support Jerry with Mikhail's Crucible. So even if you do catch him with any form of CC, he's going to get out of it from his own. Catch him again, he's going to get out of it and a heal from that. So it's really hard to do anything about him, and he's 8-0-3. He's been making all these plays happen. And Meat Makers, they just don't have an answer for him.
And we should talk about Jerry, because his KDA is pretty high as well, because of all the help he had from Crayon in the early days. And it's been affected. White Knight came in, and to be fair to him, he did a pretty good job as the AD carry. Not quite on Crayon's level, though.
Yeah, and I really wonder how Creatin's been practicing with a broken hand over these past 4 weeks. Like, how do you do that?
He used the trackball, clearly. It was Kerb's trackball.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man, that would actually be really funny if he did switch over to that. But right now, Alternate, they have the top inhibitor down, they have the middle one to take. And right now, Meat Makers, they're just kind of running away. They know they can't defend this, even though it's pretty much at that point where they have to, and they go in.
They're going to launch in. Kuban is not going to use Let's Bounce. He doesn't catch on towards him. The inhibitor is going to go down. One more shot would have done it. Crayon's going to step in. He really wants it. That charm going whiff towards him. Shockwave used. Kuban almost taken down. There's going to be Paranoia. I think he may well just be used in defense, so that's going to be the inhibitor gone. Makler also uses his ultimate. Libic does get caught out off the side there with the True Shot Barrage. And then it's going to be Kuban. He gets melted as well. This is going to be Alternate closing out the match here against Meet Your Makers. They will manage to take themselves a second victory of the day, and more importantly, a 4th victory over Meet Your Makers. True Shot Barrage from Crayon makes him legendary. 10-0-4 for the match. There's going to be the Nexus Turret 1. Nexus Turret 2 is going to drop down, and the Nexus will follow. Will they go and pad the KDA? Will McKenna get taken down? No, he will not. It will be, though, Alternate with their second victory of the day, and really very well played against Meet Your Makers.
And David, correct me if I'm wrong, but that just seemed way too easy for Alternate.
Very easy indeed.
I mean, Meat Makers, they put up a good fight, but once they just got that little bit of advantage, and Creatin got, 2 of his 10 kills at the end, they just really pushed it from there. They snowballed it from there. They kept catching Meat Makers out of position, kept punishing him for it, kept taking objectives for it, and eventually took the victory for it.
And it's interesting to see how confident Alternate look that Crayon has returned. Yeah, don't shake the hand of, or high-five him. He's just going for the fist bumps instead.
I'm waiting for someone to pay off a team like, yeah, when Creatin comes to shake your hand, just high-five him really hard.
Just go for that
hand.
Do it for us. Go for that hand. They're going to make sure he's well protected. And also, congratulating their team members. And J-Ree did play very well alongside him, to be fair. But that man, Craton, with the hand, he's come back. I'd love to see his KDA just for today because it's been pretty damn impressive. Immediately, though, has to get it back in cover and get it protected and make it sure it's safe for tomorrow because Alternate, they are looking good with Craton back.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're back tied with Lemon Dogs in that first place position. And I mean, that just looked way too easy. You're definitely right. Like you were saying, they looked more confident. They looked more secure about playing because Creatine is back. We heard, RNA be so vocal about saying Creatine, best AD carry in Europe. And right now, when we have White on the team, there's no way we'd win Worlds or let alone get to them. But with Creatine on the team, definitely get to Worlds. And it kind of shown right there that even with a broken hand, he's still doing extremely well. And when that hand finally finishes healing, how much better is he going to get?
Well, look at the pairing. 10-0-4 and 0-1-14 between J-Ree and Craton.
That feeder.
Had to digest once, didn't he? But probably took one for the team and maybe blocked Craton being caught out. But that just goes to show the synergy that partnership has and the synergy that as soon as they call a target, they're confident that everybody will go for it. It seems to be working out wonders. And so many times, the likes of Libic, he got caught, but simply once that Iceborne Gauntlet's got caught onto him, one simple Q shot, that's it. Arcane Shift, everything, full on aggression from Craton. You're not going to escape that.
And you saw Craton even attacking Charu, who was almost the tankiest member of the team, which is a little weird when he's an Ahri and he's an AP carry, but one Q would take him down like a fifth of his health, and that was just one hit from an Ezreal, which obviously had Last Whisper, but the Rune King down, Spirit of the Elder Lizard, and he just hurt all around. And you saw him, like, his aggression was very well calculated, but it was just all over the map. Like, he would feel confident enough to go 1v3 in because he knew his team would back him up, and that's the alternate that we saw back in the first couple weeks.
And let's talk about Frelenor as well, because obviously on the Orianna, how many times we saw those shockwaves, well, effectively get him into the LCS in the first place, the Orianna shockwave, but he certainly did very well against Charu's Ahri, who we've seen in the past doing phenomenally well itself.
Yeah, I was actually a little surprised because I was saying earlier on that Ahri kind of counters Orianna a little bit just because you have the mobility to get around the ball.
I always think of it as a skill match myself.
I think I'd have to agree with that, yeah, definitely. And I don't know, I mean, with it, just the threat of the ball, because he farmed well the entire game. Yeah, he was down about 50 CS at the end, but he constantly kept farming. And because of that, he was always that threat. He always had the ball in a position to pretty much protect the rest of his team, to protect Creatine. I swear I can get the words out. And because of that, like, they couldn't just go for a full-on engage against him.
Well, of course, it does take Alternate to 13-9 and joint and complete second place. In fact, they're not joint second place at all because that victory has took them to a solid second place. We are, of course, going to go over to the analysis desk. It is going to be Joe and Quickshot. Let's see what they've got to say.
Thanks a lot, guys. So I'm, of course, here with Quickshot. And Trevor, first of all, a slower game, I think we can say, from that one. I mean, and I think Demon and Jason really put it right that it looks a little bit too easy for Alternate in some ways.
Once it started.
Yeah, once it actually started, which did take a little while, by the way, to get going in there. But first of all, talk us a little bit through the compositions that we saw.
One of the things that I want to highlight specifically about the composition that we've seen from Meet Your Makers is they had these very mobile champions. They had Ahri, they had Zac, they had Nocturne, these sort of all-in diving around champions, and then the Zyra as well. Now, you tend to pick Zyra against opponents who have that type of composition. If your opponent's going to be rushing at you, diving at you, you pick that counter-engage and that control support. And it didn't really work. Over on the other side of Alternate, you did have Lee Sin, but then it was Orianna, Zed, Ezreal. They're not champions that you traditionally counter with the Zyra pick. And part of the reason the game was so dragged out and so prolonged is because of how mobile MYM were. It was nearly impossible for Alternate to stick to them and make fights happen in the early game.
I mean, we did see technically both teams taking a Baron during that game, but obviously the Meet Your Makers one turned pretty much into a fight straight away after that one, which, as Demon said, wasn't the best use of a Baron we've ever seen. But I mean, Alternate, when they actually took the second Baron that actually spawned in there as well, they were already well on the way to securing that victory.
One of the things that we've seen from Alternate after the game did start to spin up as far as action and tempo was concerned is they were able to push the lanes and push objectives without really much counterplay. Once they stuck themselves to a target, they picked up the tower, they picked up the Baron, they picked up the buff, and they just shoved home relatively quickly. MYM, they couldn't contest, and that was part of the reason it was so easy for Alternate in the end.
Well, thanks a lot, Quickshot. We're going to head over to an interview, though, with Shox, who's waiting with Aranea.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Arne. Second victory of the day here. But the start of the game was kind of slow from both sides, and you would expect from a team you'd already beaten 3 times before that you might be a little more aggressive. So why was that?
Well, actually, they pick really well. I mean, Zach against Zed is even good, but they lane swap, so that doesn't allow us to do like early plays, to do like early stuff. And it was a bit rough because I went bottom lane. I tried to do something, but I failed because I had not enough energy for my W, like 5 points of energy. So I kind of failed. I have to waste flash. And then like we could not push that much in bottom lane. That was kind of my fail. But then also like their setup early game was really strong. Like Nocturne ultimate with Ari ultimate with Ari teleport is like pretty much a kill if they coordinated well. That's why we were really scared. We were like playing really passive. So
at what moment did you get going? Was it a certain fight, or was it maybe when the Zed was able to 1 versus 1 people, or?
No, actually, they got Naso and I was really scared, but still we were like, it's fine. We will get Gauntlet. And I think at the point he got Gauntlet, I think it was, we said, let's fight. We get 1 mid-team fight that we ace them. And they actually focus on me and Zed, and we actually survive really low HP. And at that moment I said, okay, the fight is won. I mean, they focus on us, they didn't kill us. We managed to survive and protect our team. And even like Nami, I think Nami knocked up 4 guys, and I ultimate also 3 guys. So it was like random CCs that we perfectly timed it, and it was a really good team fight for us. And that moment I said, okay, we're gonna win this game.
Yeah, 2 victories today. Great on your way back to first place. Now, how does it work for you? They normally have 1 game a day when it's a regular weekend, so now you don't have a lot of time to prepare for your next one. So what do? You not prepare? Do you do it up front, or?
Well, actually, like in the first weeks, it was really easy for us because our coach was like preparing every game for us. Like I just needed to go to the Skype, and I said like, okay, what do we have to do? And he told me exactly what we have to do. And I was like discussing with him, no, I think this is better. I think we play a lot against this kind of champions, so we don't need to ban it. And we know how to counter this. So we argue a bit, but at the end, we end with a solution. It was really optimal for us, that stuff. Now our coach doesn't have that many free time. So I'm pretty much doing that alone, like user searching before the matches. But it's still really tough for us, like having 1 match and after 2 hours another match. You have no time to prepare for every enemy.
Finally, I see something on your hand. Tell me it didn't hurt your hand as well.
No. Just a lucky charm.
No, but really talking about Creaton, tell me a little bit how important it is that he's back in the team. Obviously, he makes a great impact in-game, but I know that you guys are also very dear friends, so it must be a huge impact for you overall.
I think Creaton impact in-game is huge. I mean, for me, not gonna say anything bad about other guys, but for me, he's the best AD carry in Europe. He's a machine. I mean, he knows exactly when to join, when to go back, and he also do the calls on team fights. And even that, he's also bumped him up a lot. Like every time we are like bad mood, he is like starts shouting or like singing, and everyone go to good mood, so it's perfect. But the best thing of that is, like personally, I always like every time we go to a hotel or something, I share room with him, and I'm always with him. I go shopping with him, I go party with him, I do everything with him. So he's pretty much my closest friend here. In the moment he left the team, I felt really lonely. And now that he's back, I can just like keep smiling all day.
Fantastic. Well, I'm very happy for you, and congratulations on 2 victories today. And now we're going to take one last break, but when we come back, the Lemon Dogs try to hold on to first with a win over SK Gaming.